Supply chain management for PEs. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the project engineer's role when it comes to supply chain and providing materials and information to the project site. In other videos, I've talked about information. Now I'm going to mainly talk about the supply chains. Let me talk about how we can look at this from the most successful perspective. Number one, your design and buyout and the procurement of materials on your supply chain should all be interlinked with the actual execution of the activity as part of one production system. And so keeping that together and understanding that those are dependent in flow is one of the most important concepts. Now, this properly managed will mean that you have a beautiful tacked production plan. And from that production plan required on job date, you then work it back past your buffers to when you need it on site, then past your delivery, the fabrication lead time, the actual fabrication time, the release of the PO, the approvals, the architect's review, the general contractor's review, trade partner review, submittal created by the trade partner, all the way back to buyout. Like there will be a log or a physical schedule where a project engineer will do this. And that means that it's constantly tracked week by week, and that every week the PM, the super, and the project engineers are in a meeting called the Strategic Planning and Procurement meeting, where we're reviewing supply chains, making sure that the procurement log is functioning, making sure that our buffers are set properly, and that the entire project is resourced and that materials are coming on time, just in time. And if there's any problems real time throughout that entire supply chain, we will recover fast. There's at least 15 major things that you can do in the supply chain to recover if you ever get behind, and that requires full-time tracking. And so the project engineer will be on top of that. And if you're ever running a project and you don't have a working procurement log, a working buyout log, a working schedule, and you don't have those things up and running, you are in big trouble, ladies and gentlemen, because that has to be like step one pre-con. That is what that has to be. So a project engineer will track these fanatically, daily, to make sure that they're on their way. We don't leave it to trades. We don't leave it to guessing. We don't leave it to happenstance. Procurement log, tracked, weekly meeting at a minimum, and we're constantly recovering the supply chain if there's problems, okay? So let me dig into a couple of key things here before I move forward. Please, as a project engineer, don't underestimate your lead times and don't get complacent. And as one really neat project director one time said to me, don't fall asleep on that. Okay, you've got to always be moving in the direction of monitoring these supply chains. Don't ever wait to start. If you're like, well, I don't really have trades, I don't have a design. Yeah, go chat GPT it. Oh, you don't have chat GPT? Guess. You can't guess? Ask your team members. You can't ask your team members? Make it up. There's no reason to not start your procurement activities from day one when you know that you're on the project. Let me tell you what I mean by that. It's like putting on different coats of paint. You're not going to have the trades on board. You're not going to have a full design. You're going to be like, I'm going to wait for procurement. No, you do not. Chat GPT at first coat of paint. Second coat of paint is Chat GPT it with your macro level tack plan. That's your second coat of paint. Third coat of paint, Chat GPT or Claude or whatever your preferred AI is. I'm just saying use AI. AI plus the macro, plus the vetted plan, plus your team's best wisdom. Then you pull in the trade partners. Then you pull in the vendor's information. Then you just keep adding information as you go. But start back here. And people are like, Jason said AI. I'm telling you, if you don't have designer or people to ask or trade partners, then ask AI, and it's actually really accurate. And it will be like, you need to focus on switchgear, your exterior curtain wall, your elevators, your fire pump. It will tell you what to go focus on. Then you're like, okay, Then you'll go dig deep on those and start tracking those supply chains early. AI is just an assist for you to then go do your job. Project engineers never wait. You're always advancing forward on the procurement strategy side of things. And from a submittal standpoint, make sure that the supply chain is never impacted by the submittal process, which means you're going to have to get after it sooner and move your start dates out ahead of your supply chain with buffers, meaning that you can't be the reason that things are late because you didn't start on it soon enough. So always identify long lead procurement early on and start tracking those supply chains and get the big things out of the gate fast. There's never been a commercial job that I've seen that didn't need an early financial release for something. I mean, 150 years ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, every job needed something with curtain wall. Every job needed something with hoisting. Every job needed something from this crazy tile that's coming from Italy. Like, we've always had this problem. So you start your long lead in pre-construction. And I do want to say, align with the field rhythm and make sure that it's coming just in time according to the zoning strategy inside of the phases on your project site. And I also want to say that you're not just getting materials to the job site. An advanced queuing area will receive the materials. You as a PE will go do a material inspection. And then it will all be lean kitted by zone so that the telehandlers, the forklifts, can then take it to the zone in a lean fashion. And right there outside of the office, it's getting unpacked. The dunnage and pallets and cardboard are being recycled or thrown away. And then only what needs to go kitted to the actual spaces on the job site are going to the zones with the telehandler. So it's not just your procurement and the supply chain, it's receipt, it's inspection, and it's kitting. So that's basically what a project engineer does. And if it's not working, the PE has room to grow, because you cannot have the job site build what materials we can get. You have to get the materials that the job site needs on their rhythm. I'm going to put this into a blog post for you, and hope you enjoyed this video. On we go.